nights when all the others just seem to melt.
Hey everybody, we're at the Jesus Vegans Event Center. My name is Chase Jones.
And my name is Täs Zink, and we are of Biodesic Strategies. We're here today to give you a quick tutorial on how to build a Hugelkultur bed and some tips and tricks that we've learned from our experience doing this.
A long history of doing what they're told. 'Cause nobody wants to walk this road.
You can see we've got all this cardboard we brought in from town, compost and mulch, and then a pile of dead logs that we're going to use for our Hugelkultur mound. Hugelkultur is a raised garden bed technique that we use in permaculture a lot. It comes from an ancient German farming practice where they would bury all of these logs, and then as they rotted and decayed, it gave nutrients to their crops. It's self-irrigating, self-fertilizing, self-aerating and tilling. Decaying logs are somewhat porous, and so they soak up water during the rains and then slowly release it as the soil around it dries out. As well, it's a haven for earthworms and all sorts of insects that help keep the soil aerated. And so we've adapted this, and it's used in climates all over the world. It's a great way to utilize fallen trees that you may have on your property, and you build a bed that really just increases in fertility for years to come. These are the logs that we've gathered from the forest nearby. You try and get a varying degree of age in the logs. The more rotten ones are going to have more immediately bioavailable nutrients for your plants, whereas the fresher ones are going to take longer to decay and release those nutrients. So a good mixture ensures that it continues becoming fertile for years, but also that you have nutrients now to plant this season. There are a few types of wood that we try and avoid, such as pine and cedar, because they tend to resist breaking down and they resist fungal activity, which is something we want in our garden. We've selected a bunch of our bigger logs that we're going to use as the borders for our bed, our raised bed, that will then fill in with all of our materials. All right, so now let's go to the food forest and check out what we've got. So sheet mulching is a technique that we've used with quite a bit of success. There's a few different materials you can use. We use cardboard mostly, but newspaper works really well. You try and patch them together where all the spots where grass is going to show through are covered, and then we're going to layer mulch on top of that. And so it helps with this no-till system where we don't have to dig to kill any of the grass or pull it out. We just cover it and smother all of it, and then over time the cardboard breaks down and the roots can penetrate through. Bigger pieces of cardboard are good because you have less cracks, and so you can avoid overlapping as much. And then you want to make sure if you're on a slope, you angle them to where water is still going to slide down underneath the cardboard and reach to the soil. Otherwise, you can kind of have this shingling effect where the water is going to run over the cardboard and just continue off your landscape, which we want to avoid. We are strategically leaving a few of these plants, which does make it a little harder, but we really think the value of them already being here and established is really going to supplement the other things we're adding into the system. We have all sorts of native nitrogen fixers and things to attract pollinators and beneficial insects, and all of this biomass eventually will be returned to the soil. So now that we've got this whole area sheet mulched, we took all of these smaller sticks and we've designed out what the rest of the beds in this area are going to look like to give us a good idea of how this bed's going to fit in. And we've designed it to incorporate this fruit tree and benefit in as many ways as possible. And so now we need to get our border logs, our bigger ones, and maybe some stones if you have them, and make a good outline to help hold in all the other material we're gonna be piling in. So now we're going to take our medium-sized materials. So this can be brush or smaller sticks. Leaves are a really good material to use as well. We did use a layer of compost and mulch. So we're gonna kind of stuff this in and help fill in the cracks between the bigger pieces. And then we have some more big pieces we'll stack on top of that. Do another layer of this before the mulch, the final mulching. So a good place to find some medium-sized material, if there are any drainage ditches or gutters on your property, oftentimes rain will build up a big cluster of leaves. And what happens is, over time you get what's called leaf mold, where it's been broken down and it's like halfway composted. So you still see, you know, some organic matter in there that's visible, but it also has the texture and feel of a nice loamy soil. So we're gonna take this and mix it in with our Hugelkultur bed. So you just look at the mycelium on this. The mycelium will accelerate the decomposition of this wood, releasing all those nutrients for our plants to reuse. So now that our mound is pretty much built, we're gonna go ahead and pile the rest of our topsoil on that we can. And I would recommend using 2 parts topsoil, 1 part compost, and then make sure that your bed is deep enough so that way your roots can have full growth in this first season. Now, as the bed breaks down and matures, over time, all of that wood will be turned into fertile, loamy soil. But for now, we don't want our roots to be hitting the wood and not having anywhere to go. So if you don't have access to rich soil or compost, it's best to build your Hugelkultur bed in the fall or in the winter, so that way it has time to age and mature, because the fertility and the self-irrigating qualities of it will increase over time. Also, you'll see that your bed will shrink and lose height over time, and that's totally normal. A lot of this can happen within the first month as your dirt is settling down in between the cracks of the wood. And so you can always pile on more material after that first month, after it's settled. But then the next year and the year after that, you'll lose about 1 foot each year in height. So when you're mulching your bed, make sure that the mulch is thick enough so that way it doesn't slide off the side of your bed, but make sure that it's thin enough so that the seeds can take root and they can reach the soil and the sun. All right, now that the mulching's done, it's time to sow some seeds. I think today we're going to sow some buckwheat. Buckwheat has a high nitrogen need, so this bed, since we used a very nutrient-dense soil, will do well for that. We'll sow some red clover to help act as a green cover crop and hold the soil together. And then maybe some Siberian kale. And then we might stick some other annuals in here and there. But when you make a fresh Hugelkultur bed, it is important to sow it immediately to prevent too much washout. We need some roots. All right, so I would recommend using companion planting and a diverse guild of plants that support each other, but really you can plant whatever you want in a Hugelkultur bed, and you can adjust it to your climate or what materials you have available, but it's a great way of building soil and retaining water in areas that otherwise would be hard to do so. Remember, you can be creative with this technique. There's so many different ways to do it. The taller you make your bed, the longer it will last, the longer it'll produce fertility. And then it's important to make sure when you're designing the width of your bed that it's not too long to where you can still reach across into the middle of the bed from both sides. Because you want to prevent a scenario where you're forced to step in the beds to reach something. Because that will increase the compaction. And also, the taller you build your bed, it gives you more growing surface. So it's kind of like vertical gardening, where you're in the same square footage, you have more spaces to plant things. There you have it. Here's a Hugelkultur bed. We have it sowed with seeds, and I'm excited to see it sprout soon. We might go ahead and plug in some other starter plants that we have around the house, but other than that, it's complete.
Are we recording? Yeah, we're recording.
Okay, hi, my name is Täs Zink. Hi everybody. Hi everybody. Hi everybody. Okay, one more time. Hi everybody. Take it from here, Chase.
We're going to show you how to do a Hugelkultur garden bed video. Teach you how to do a short video. We're going to teach you how to do a video.
You're doing the video.
Wait, skirt.
What's your name?
Where do you put your arms?
I don't know. That's hard to.
Yeah. Teach you how to do a short Hugelkultur
Your bed. Our experience and some tips and tricks. How to teach an old log new tricks. Show you a quick tip. No. Hi everybody. My name is Täs.
No, it sounded depressed.
Okay. My pants on?
Yep.
Okay.